I have two social workers that actually, I guess I'm supposed to work with two of them, but I'm only working with one. And she has made it very hard for me to even just get visits with the children.
Back. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined today by a very special guest, an expert in CPS law and practice, Jennifer Ani. Jennifer, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Jennifer, let's take a call from California from someone named Jennifer. Jennifer, are you there? Do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Question to ask, sorry.
Go for it.
So my kids I have two children, ages 10 and 5 when this happened, 4. But this happened back in August, and I basically have been working with one social worker. I have two social workers that actually, I guess I'm supposed to work with two of them, but I'm only working with one. And she has made it very hard for me to even just get visits with the children. My children were born and raised in Orange County, but they transferred them to San Bernardino County, and they were transferred to San Bernardino County with a family member of my daughter's, but my daughter's, the person that she was placed with was my ex-boyfriend's family, which I have a restraining order with. So I have a restraining order on this person, and they placed my children with his family. So that right there, I kind of thought that was, how would I tell you? Like,
unfair.
I didn't like it. Yeah, and due to the fact that my son isn't his son, it's just my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So that with that, and then they also claimed that I had eight calls before this call, and they were all, I guess it was 7 calls, and this was going to be the 8th. So they they got a warrant for them to remove the children. But the 7 calls that they're calling that were made were from my ex, but all of them were unfounded. Like, I had the social workers come out to the house, and there was nothing that I was doing wrong. If anything, my daughter did let them know that her dad had been telling her to say lies about what was going on, or say lies to the social worker. So I just think, like, is it true that they have to, wouldn't they investigate first before removing the children? Because right now they're saying that my children were removed because of Welfare 300 or something, like neglect.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ms. Ani, what do you think about that? That question she had.
Well, I was hoping to know a little more about the reason stated for the removal, because they obtained a warrant, which tells me that they didn't find there was any emergency to remove the child. And yes, they do have to do an investigation. However, it doesn't have to be as thorough as one might think it would have to be until later on in the proceeding at jurisdiction. For detention, it's a probable cause basis pretty much. And that is probably the lowest level of proof that is required in our legal system. But so general neglect because of what? Because of a dirty house? Because
I was in a, I think it all started when I submitted, I requested a restraining order, and then I took the restraining order off. Like I requested a restraining order,
violence,
and then when I went to court, the day of the hearing, my mom, I had basically, we had came to an agreement that I was gonna keep my son, that he was gonna give me full custody of my son. It was just gonna leave me alone. Like he said, if you take it off, like I'll just, I'll give you full custody of my son Gordo. So I'm like, okay. So when I went to see the judge, that's what I told him. I'm like, oh, I just want to remove that. I'm just here to I don't need the restraining order anymore, but I do want to see if I can apply for full custody for my son. And that's when he's like, well, I don't do that, but you have to come back and file your paperwork again. File paperwork with the downstairs, like first floor, but I can remove not remove it, but he was just gonna not kind of like let it go. Not let it. I know that they don't let it go, but I basically just told I just didn't need any more. But I didn't get full custody of my son. But I think that's what started everything, because I was still letting him see my son, and I was still talking to him. So after that, I had been talking to another person, and then that person, I stopped talking to him, and we were already like not even dating or anything. And he found out that I was talking to my son's dad also. So he basically, he drugged me the night before the social worker was coming out. So the social worker went to the hospital, and he saw me at the hospital. And then in his report, he said that I was like spinning out, that I was withdrawing, and it wasn't that. It was that I was taking they had given me medication it kept me like very dizzy, and I couldn't keep my food in because of the whole medication that they were giving me at the hospital. But it was because I had an infection in my lung. So on my paperwork, it said it told me what to do, like who to contact in regards to like what had happened. But then they used that against me as like I got drugged, and I was doing drugs in front of my kids. I had my kids with me. My kids were not even there. My kids were here at my apartment with my mom. And I told the social worker, well, if that was the case, why don't you guys check out? Because I live in a private community, so I'm like, why don't you guys pull footage from my neighbors right here? Because all of us have cameras. So why don't if you think that I had my kids with me, that I came over here and then I got high with my children, then and to show proof, why didn't you pull footage to show the court that I came over here to get high? Or like I wanted. The social worker got upset because I didn't want to give them a copy of my hospital paperwork. I said no, and he's like, well, it would benefit you if I gave it to him. I'm like, I'm not going to give you something that I don't have to give you, because those are my records. So that afternoon on my son's birthday, they came to my door with the warrant, and they took my children, and they told me that the next day they were going to give me the kids because my mom was here, and my mom was going to apply to get the kids. And the next day came, and we had this meeting in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they placed them. They didn't even tell me that they placed them. I thought they were still at Orangewood, and they weren't there. They had already placed them with my daughter's brothers, his younger brothers, him and his girlfriend. They placed my children with them. So all weekend I'm over here calling like Orangewood, and they're not even there. They didn't even tell me that they had placed them in San Bernardino County. Same thing this year. For Christmas, I was like, I got sick in the second week of December, and they placed the same social worker switched my son from San Bernardino County. He changed them over here to Orange County with my son's dad's family, and she didn't let me know either. She just placed them and didn't say anything. And then that's when I contacted her, and I contacted her supervisor, and I went and I told them, I'm like, I don't feel like it's right that that you do this kind of stuff. Like you move my kids around.
2 minutes.
First of all, I didn't even agree for you guys to transfer them to San Bernardino County.
Jennifer, let me interrupt you because we're moving towards our next break. Did you have a question for me or Miss Ani today?
Yeah, like if my public defender, she is going based off paperwork. She doesn't really know much about me. She doesn't know me as a person, which I understand.
Jennifer,
she has a lot more.
Jennifer, just ask me the question.
If I fire my public defender,
Mm-hmm.
and I just represent myself,
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to ask the judge if what is I feel like how to tell you, how can I prove that they took my children the wrong way? Like how do I say this?
Jennifer, it may be too late, and you may have not structured this question, clearly. So I want you to do something. I want you to call me at my office on Monday, and I'll speak to more.
I do. I call you all the time. This is like I've called you like 6 times, and they already quoted me that the problem is it's the money.
Okay, well,
it's the money that's the reason why I can't hire you. I would have hired you already.
Okay, well, I'm telling you to call me on Monday, and I'll personally talk to you and try to help you on your case. 888-888-6582, and what we'll do is if you call today and make an appointment, I'll keep the appointment on Monday and we can talk. Okay? Because we got to move on to our next commercial break. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. We'll be right back after these messages.